Okay, let's get underway. We will go with James Cole, Sky Sports News.
Hi, Joe. So losing Zak Crawley so close to the start of his first test, how big a setback is that for you, and who bats at 3 now?
Yeah, it's really frustrating, and really frustrating for Zak in particular. Real freak incident where he, walking out the change room, slipped over and landed on his wrist. So hard for him to take, especially off the back of trying to get as best prepared as possible for this series. And of course, it means that we have to look at things from a selection point of view. I think as a more general thing, I think everything's on the table in terms of selection. We'll weigh everything up when we get to the ground, look at the conditions, look at the surface again, and try and have real clarity going into the game.
So would you consider moving up to 3?
There's a number of different things we've got. We've got some brilliant players, brilliant options to choose from. We look at the balance of the side and things as well. But there'll all be things that we'll discuss over the course of today and make sure that we're really happy with the team that we take into the game tomorrow.
And how are Jofra Archer and Ben Stokes looking? Are they fully fit from what you've seen for selection?
Yeah, I mean, I had the pleasure of, pleasure, I mentioned this last night, the displeasure almost of facing Jofra in the nets yesterday. He bowled extreme with great pace, looked right at the top of his game. So really excited to see him where he's at. And it's always great to have Ben back in around the group. That he's going to come back in and give absolutely everything to the team. So I think it would always give a huge lift having that amount of talent in and around the squad. So very excited for them both to be in and around things again, and looking forward to get going.
And just finally from me, have you had a chance to look at that pitch then and see what the conditions might be like?
Yeah, I had a brief look at it. Not been able to get too close to it. We've been sort of held at arm's length a little bit, but it's not the prettiest wicket that I've ever seen. But we all know that doesn't mean it doesn't tell you a huge amount. It's going to be history would suggest here that it is going to be a good wicket for the majority of the game. Spin will come into it, but there hasn't been a huge amount of cricket the last 4 years or 5 years here, even first class cricket in the last year and a half or so. So I think it's really important that we go into the game with an open mind and we play what's right in front of us. So yeah, I think that's going to be a real key component of things. Is making sure that we adapt to what we see when that first ball comes down on Friday.
Thank you. Go well.
Cheers, James. We'll go with Sam from TalkSport.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you, Sam?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Joe. Your best achievement?
I think walking out for the first time in an England shirt would probably be the proudest moment. I just think I look back on walking out to bat and seeing Kevin Peterson stood at the other end, someone who I watched as a teenager and as a kid growing up, and I just couldn't stop smiling. I was living my childhood dream, and ever since have been. And always trying, if I'm ever going through a bit of a lean spell or things aren't quite falling for me, then try and look back at that moment and remember what that feeling was like, and just almost try and embrace that really excitable young lad, and bring that into the current situation, because I still am living the dream. So that would probably be the one thing that stands out, something that I'll always refer back to and look fondly on.
And Joe, this morning on the TalkSport breakfast, we've got Darren Gough and Steve Harmison on the show looking ahead to the series. And they've been talking about their exact preparation ahead of the start of a massive series, what they do the morning of the night before. Just interested in what you do. You finish training, done the press conference, you go home. Are you able at all to switch off? Do you watch something in particular on TV? Do you play the guitar? What's your exact preparation the night before and the morning of a massive series for England?
I just try and relax as much as I can. I think naturally you will always think about there might be selection questions in your own mind if you're not clear on the team going into that final day. But most of the time, it's just about having that all all done and getting real clarity and all of that, and then just being able to switch off and give yourself a chance to away from the game. And sometimes I'll play the guitar, sometimes I'll watch a series on an iPad or whatever, and sometimes I'll want to watch some cricket if there's games going on around the world. I'm a big cricket fan, a bit of a badger, so anything really just to keep me nice and relaxed and calm is all I'll try and do.
Thank you, Joe, and good luck.
Cheers, thank you.
Okay, we'll go to John Etheridge and then Chris Stocks.
Joe, hi. Just on Zach again, cricket studs on slippery floors can be quite hazardous. Have you put something down on the floor to make sure it doesn't happen again?
We have since then. We've tried to initially try to put some even just some towels down, and then since then they've put something a bit more substantial down for us. We know we've got to be careful. I mean, it's not something you first think about when you turn up to a ground. Is trying not to slip over. It was a real freak accident, and hopefully that'll be the last of it, and no one else can fall to the same fate.
Well, 2005 was the last time Channel 4 showed live cricket. What were you doing that summer? Still at school, obviously, but kind of mad, keen, aspiring cricketer, I guess.
Yeah, that's one of my childhood memories. Is in that final day of at the Oval, I happened to be ill, so I managed to sit at home and watch that whole that whole last day of the Ashes series, and obviously the coverage was all on Channel 4. So it was a big part of my childhood throughout the summer, turning the telly on, watching the guys go out and play, and then just going in the garden or on the driveway or on the street and trying to emulate all of those players. It was a big part of my childhood.
Great, thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Chris Stocks and then Will Macpherson.
Hi, Joe. I just wondered, given the injury to Zach, is Ben Stokes a live option to go up to 3? He's done it before, obviously, in Sri Lanka.
There's a number of ways that we can look at it, a number of different combinations we can go with. And I think that's a really exciting part of it, is that we've now got a number of good players that can bat in different positions, fill different roles. So I think it'd be silly to write anything right now.
And does Joss Buttler definitely keep wicket?
Joss Buttler will keep wicket, yes.
He will keep wicket. Okay, thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Will and then Rory.
Hi, Joe. It's sort of similar to John's question, but I just sort of thought, I wonder whether you could describe as a man of a certain age what Channel 4's cricket coverage or free-to-air TV had meant to you growing up, and how it kind of was involved in your love of the game, or the growth of your love of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean that accessibility was, it meant that I could watch all the time and as often as possible whenever the games were on. As I say, it was a huge part of my childhood growing up, turning on the TV and listening to Mambo Number 5. That was always a favourite song purely because it was associated with cricket, Test cricket. So, those are really fond memories. I look back now and I associate that with growing up playing Test matches in the garden with my family, with my brother, and it was all through watching the coverage there.
Cheers.
Okay, last one from the UK media. Rory, please.
Joe, with reference to Zach's injury, obviously it's a blow to plans. But do you look at things like India in Australia just recently and sort of take a view that it opens up a door and a chance for somebody who probably wasn't going to play to do something special? Because that's obviously something India embraced when they had a few struggles with injuries in Australia.
Yeah, I think a lot of sides around the world will look at that series that's just happened in Australia and take huge amount of confidence from it. I think, huge credit to India for going there and winning. It's a very difficult place to go and win. We all know that. But it also, I think, teams will see that and will see that, it is possible to go and win away from home. And there is a lot of pressure on sides hosting. It'll be the same when we turn up in England and we host some brilliant sides coming over, there is a bit of pressure around that, and we should embrace that challenge. That should excite us. There's so many great opportunities that come with that, and as a side and as individual players, when you're given that opportunity to play, you just got to try and maximise that opportunity. Really try and make that count. And one thing that we have had more recent past is that competition for places, a bit more depth within our squad, and not heavily reliant on certain individuals, which might have been the case a few years ago. So it's really exciting time for the team, and guys have just got to really grasp those opportunities if they get them.
Cheers, Rory. We're going to take some questions from the Indian media. It'll be one question each, please. We've got a few to get through here. We're going to start with Vishesh, please, and then
Hello.
Niru.
Hi, Joe. I just wanted to ask you about Jack Leach and Dom Bess. There has been a lot of talk about these two, but do you think Moeen Ali can be the real X factor when it comes to spin, looking at his record against India?
I think it's great that all three of them are fit and available for selection. I think that as a whole bowling group, it's going to be really important that we all work together, not single out spinners and separate the seamers away from them. I think collectively, it's going to be really important that we all play our part, and that actually we look at things in partnerships. We look at how, as a bowling group, we're going to take 20 wickets in these conditions, and not put pressure on individuals to try and win games on their own. That's going to be the main mentality for us throughout this series, and individually the responsibility will come onto those guys if given the chance to play, and if the ball's thrown to them, do your job as best as you can for that spell. Pass the spell on to the next guy, keep building pressure all the time, creating as many chances as you can, and keep working together as a unit.
Okay, we'll go to Niru, please.
Yeah. Hi, Joe. My question was about, for somebody who's played many long innings, what do you make of somebody like a Chiteshwar Pujara, who is equally adept at playing long, but then he's not really, his role is also about not really being bothered about the scoring rate or, scoring at a quick pace. What do you make of somebody like that then? How frustrating is it for the opposition?
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic player. I had the pleasure of playing alongside him for only a couple of games at Yorkshire, and to learn from him, speak to him about batting, his love of the game, it was really interesting. So having played against him as well and been on the wrong end of him, making some huge scores, and being out there for long periods of time, you learn from those kind of innings, and you've seen his importance, the value that he adds to the Indian team, and he's going to be a huge wicket for us. There's no doubt about that. For us, it's going to be at times it might be that we have to try and outpace him and play the long game and see if we can be as mentally strong as he is at the crease, when we're out there in the field. But we know he's a fantastic player, and he's got a fantastic record at home in particular. So it's going to be a great challenge to come up against him.
Thanks, Niru. To Sydney and then Vivek. Sydney, go ahead.
Hi, Joe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hiya.
Hi. Joe, India might be flying really high following the win over Australia and their wonderful home record, having won 28 of the last 35 matches. But England also is coming into India with a strong form. You won your last 5 away matches, 2 in Sri Lanka and 3 in South Africa. South Africa was after losing the first. So confident are you guys coming into the series and 2 strong sides going against each other?
Yeah, we obviously, off the back of those 2 games, we've gained a huge amount of confidence, and we're very realistic about where we are as a team, how we're playing our cricket, how we're slowly improving all of the time, and we know that this is going to be a huge challenge for us, but we're relishing that challenge. We're looking forward to it, and we've just got to concentrate on keep making forward steps as a team. Concentrating on what we think is going to be the best way of winning out here, and trying to execute that as best as possible. But you want to play against the best teams in the world. You want to play and try and do well in their own conditions. And you know what? It's a great opportunity for this group. As I say, we've come off the back of a brilliant series, and I'm really looking forward to the next 4 games.
Okay, we'll go with Vivek and then Swaroop, please.
Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Yeah. Joe, Ashwin is coming into this series on the back of getting the better of Steve Smith in Australia. Smith later said that he had allowed Ashwin to dictate terms. As England's best batsman, how crucial will your battle against Ashwin be, and what sort of approach are you looking to take against him?
I'll just try and play, what I see in front of me. I think I won't go out there trying to look to dominate or defend. I will just try and play the ball that's delivered, and if I do that well enough for a period of time, hopefully I'll score some big runs. But he's a fine bowler. He's got a great record in India, and he's probably full of confidence off the back of that series. So, I've played against him before. I've scored some runs, and he's probably had the better of me a couple of times as well. And it's going to be a great little battle within the Test match. So. They're the contests that you want to try and get the better of. But ultimately, if you're going to score big runs in any series, you're going to have to play all of the bowling well. And just having that ball by ball mentality will probably serve me best throughout.
Okay, we'll go to Swarup and then Kushan.
Hi, Joe.
Hiya.
So just my question is, you've been part of this big four sort of, so to speak, for the last 4 or 5 years. So how do you view your batting with respect to those three guys? And also, are you one of those who lets these sort of one-on-one battles, say for example, this series could be Kohli versus Root, get to you mentally? Thanks.
Well, firstly, I look at those three guys and I try and learn as much as I can from them. I think it's obvious that they are three of the leading players in the world and have been for some time, and it'd be silly not to watch how they go about things, how they construct innings, how they manage different passages of play, how they manage their own games as well and keep evolving and getting better all the time, and then try and add that to my own game. They all play the game very differently, have different styles, and I suppose that's the beauty of the sport, is that there's not one right way of batting or bowling. Is that everyone can figure it out for themselves. In terms of those individual battles, for me, that's not the most important thing. It's not something that I will look at. What I will look at is us trying to win this series, and for us to win this series, it's going to take 11 guys. It'll take us the whole squad at different points coming in together and producing something special over some long, hard periods of play and managing pressure really well for long periods of time. So for me, that's what it's going to be about, is can we collectively pull together, build those partnerships both with bat and ball, and win out here. But that for me is how I'll view this series.
Okay, we're going to take 3 more, and we've got a lot of requests, but 3 more. So it'll be Kushan, Sai, and then finish with Srinjoy. Kushan, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Hi, Joe. Wanted to know, you have been one of the best exponents of sweep shot. So growing up in England, what was the kind of inspiration? How did you prepare playing those perfect sweep shots against the spinners, considering that the wickets are not conducive over there? So was it watching videos of Graham Gooch, or how was it? How was the process of preparing?
For me, as a young lad, I was always very small, so it took me a long time to grow and develop physically. So I had to find a way of getting the ball off the square against the spinners in particular when there wasn't any pace to work with. And the sweep shot was probably the one shot that I could actually generate the most power with. So learning to play that very well was pretty much my only scoring option for a large proportion of my junior career. I think since then, tried to develop my game a little bit more broadly, worked with some brilliant players and some brilliant coaches. I've watched a lot of cricket and a lot of guys around the world, how they go about things. For me, I suppose it's just understanding, whether you play it on line or on length, depending on the surface, whether, the bounce is going to be an issue as much as the lateral movement and turn. Trying to factor all that in and then calculating so the risk is in your favour, if you like. There's minimal risk to playing the shot, but as well, I think my club ground for an English ground, it actually spun quite a lot, quite consistently. So, we had a very good overseas pro who had test experience in Nadim Khan, who, I got to practice against all the time, speak to about playing spin, and even from, being 12, 13 years old, had quite a good education of how to go about, that side of the game, that side of batting.
Okay,
Hi, Joe.
Sai and then Srinjoy.
Hi, Joe. Jeffrey Boycott was of the opinion that you have the potential to even go past Sachin Tendulkar's tally of test runs. So with you about to play your milestone 100th test tomorrow, have you looked that far ahead at the possibility of being the highest run scorer ever in test match cricket?
No, I haven't. For me, it's about, without trying to sound very boring and cliche, it's about looking after the immediate future, looking after this next series. And it's been nice to come into it off the back of some runs, but that doesn't guarantee anything coming into the next game. It's taken a long time to play these 100 test matches, probably not as long as a lot of other players have, but it's still a long time, and it'll take a long time to potentially do that again. I look at Sachin as the best player to have played the game, and had the privilege to play against him a couple of times. But ultimately, for me to get anywhere near him, I'll have to play I have to play a hell of a lot more test cricket. And right now, I've just got to concentrate on trying to be the best I can in this series, in the next series beyond that, and just keep trying to get better all the time. And hopefully runs and the rest of it will look after itself.
Okay, final questions. Srinjoy.
Afternoon, Joe. Pleasure talking to you.
And you as well.
So over the years, I mean, following up on your love for the sweep shot, over the years we have been in awe of Joe Root. I mean, how Joe Root employs the sweeps and the paddle sweeps and the reverse sweeps to perfection. So India now looks set to go in with 3 spinners, and obviously they'll have some plans in place to negate that your love for sweep shot. So are you planning to stick to your strength, or do you have any other counter-attacking strategy in mind? How are you preparing to deal with the spin?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's quite a lucrative shot, if you like. It's something that generates a lot of runs for me. But I think the conditions and the way that the pitches were in Sri Lanka, that was the lowest risk option for scoring runs. And actually, that was my way of managing the field and combating what they had to offer. It might be that there's more bounce. It might be that there's not as much turn, and it becomes a more dangerous shot out here, and I might have to find a different way of scoring runs. But I suppose that's the art of batting, is trying to implement a game and a strategy of scoring runs on different surfaces. So the challenge here will be assessing what's right in front of us, assessing the attack that they pick, and then just trying to pick it apart and find a way of scoring runs. And it might be that I don't have to sweep as much, or I choose not to sweep as much, but I'll have to find a different way of scoring my runs. And that's the beauty of batting. That's the thing that I really enjoy about it, is that you can't just bank on one way of doing things all the time. You have to look to get better. You have to look at different ways of scoring runs and manipulating the field and trying to get on top of the bowler. And when you come across one of the best sides in the world, especially in their own conditions like India, that challenge is something that I'm really looking forward to.
Okay, thanks everyone. Have a good day. Cheers.
Thank you.